are ready. Bum, 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 bum. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Another great edition of Bring It in the House podcast show where we spotlight musicians, entertainers, artists, and leaders. Get your meal. I'm your host, Millie Mills, and we have another exciting episode for you. This man right here, this man is on fire. Man, this man is an entrepreneur. I look at it. I'm not going to even say all that. We're going to get into the interview because he brings so much to the table. Let's give it up for award-winning journalist, Chris Howell. Woo-hoo!
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate the opportunity. You're just so excited.
I am, man.
You're on fire, really. Your energy is contagious.
Well, thank you, Chris. I get excited because, we get this opportunity, just 30 minutes to talk to greatness. When greatness is in your presence, you have to humble yourself. And I do see you as greatness. I worked with you at KHVN in Dallas briefly and KCBI. And you were always so hardworking and it paid off. Look at you now.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for that. But, I've got to tell you, that's very flattering. And I really appreciate that. But yeah, you are very hardworking yourself. Like you talked about, we worked together way back in the day. Like they say, like the kids used to say, way back in the gap. And I've seen you really grind it out in the radio industry and just you really just continue to share great stories and to uplift our community and to really move our community forward by sharing stories. So I'm really proud of what you're doing here with Bring It in the House. So I'm honored to be a part of it.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, this is CEO and founder of Chris Howell Communications, LLC, out of the Dallas, Texas area. Now, Chris, tell us where you're from. Let's rep your city, your alma mater, all of that.
I'm born and raised right here in Dallas, specifically West Dallas. So, I'm really proud of that. Can any good thing come out of West Dallas? I say absolutely. There are many great things that come out of West Dallas, and I'm proud to be one of those things. And, while you're talking about that, I'll just share this as well as a shameless plug. We had the opportunity just yesterday to go back to West Dallas and to partner with the West Dallas Boys and Girls Club, and to also partner with the church that my family was a part of growing up to do a Thanksgiving Day food giveaway. It was the 4th annual Thanksgiving Day food giveaway for the Chris Howell Foundation. It's our nonprofit arm that we have. It started in 2016, but it was an opportunity for us to serve some 350 turkeys and some 14,000 pounds of food to families who are getting ready for Thanksgiving Day. And we've had an opportunity to do it in many parts of Dallas and Tarrant County, Fort Worth as well. But I was really honored to be able to go back to West Dallas and to be able to do it right there at the West Dallas Boys and Girls Club. So yeah, where I'm from, it's West Dallas specifically. We currently reside in Arlington, Texas, but West Dallas is always home.
Amen. Amen. And for those of you just tuning in, this is the founder, CEO of Chris Howell Communications, LLC. And for those of you who are not from Dallas, he is specifically targeting West Dallas because can you kind of give a little background why you said about if anything great can come from West Dallas? West Dallas is kind of like a underprivileged community a little bit. Is that's some of it?
Absolutely. It's one of those areas of Dallas that's always been underserved. It continues to be even to this day, but certainly back in the early 80s and 90s was tremendously underserved. It's a food desert. There have been some opportunities for grocery stores to come in there, but they haven't lasted very long. So currently they're in need of another food store to come into that area to bring fresh, nutritious food into the community. So again, that's why we were glad to be able to go out there. But it's not just food; it's other medical services and things of that nature. And for those who may be from West Dallas, they're familiar with the lead story. There was a lead plant in West Dallas that for years operated there and affected, thousands and thousands of families by the smoke that came out of the plant, and then it impacted the dirt and the soil in the area and contaminated many of the residents of West Dallas as a result of learning disabilities, things of that nature came about as a result of some of that contamination. So West Dallas has been plagued for years with a number of issues. Thankfully, our family was not necessarily affected by the lead contamination. We lived a little bit further away from that area, but it's just those type, I use that as an example of the type of, I guess, things that have affected West Dallas as a whole. And so, when you go back to an area such as that and to be able to contribute and just to give folks just a shot in the arm, a lot of times just giving them something just to be a bridge to help them to help make ends meet and to be a resource as their, hours may have been cut. Maybe folks have been laid off. Folks are seeing for many different reasons. They're finding themselves in hard economic times, and we just wanted to be a resource. So glad to just be a part of that. And I don't want to steer us too far into that direction. I don't want to take over the interview. I don't know where you wanted to go, but you asked me where I was from, and I just did that just yesterday, so it's fresh on my mind. I just wanted to do that.
Yeah, this is your moment. These 30 minutes are dedicated to you, and
Okay.
saying those things, you educated a lot of us because I didn't know the backstory behind West Dallas. I knew there was challenges that they had experienced for a number of years. So would you say that because of the lead poisoning, it kind of made people leave that area and kind of caused it to be like a draft?
Yeah, it definitely caused it to. I mean, not many things would come into that area. I think for years, folks didn't know the fact that it was even happening. Everyone was going about their lives as if, everything was okay. Just saw this big old plant there right in the middle of West Dallas and thought, there's just a big plant there, but didn't know that they were actually contaminating the neighborhood. But I guess once it was brought about the fact that contamination was happening, you're absolutely right. Yeah, there was a mass exodus out of there, rightfully so, because, the soil and everything had been contaminated. So, it took years, I believe, for them to try to get that thing rectified, to try to, make it livable for folks to be able to come back into that area.
All right.
So for the folks who are living there now, it's a lot of rebuilding going on.
Lots of rebuilding. Yes. I was listening to you, how well you speak. You can hear that journalistic side, newsman, all of that. I said, this man you just flow so well with it. Yeah. I'm bragging on him because I had the chance to work with him. So, and I've seen his career just soar over the years. I mean, you've had a chance to interview some really heavyweights in the industry, mega pastors and so much more. Let's take a look at one of the clips here that I was able to find on YouTube.
This new book, I believe this is your 7th book, The Power of I Am. You talked about the fact that you didn't think that you had the ability to stand in front of people to speak.
Because when I took over and go up there to speak on a Sunday, every voice inside would say, "Are you crazy? You haven't been to seminary. These people don't want to listen to you, and you're a behind-the-scenes guy." But I had to turn it around. I am, the I ams. I am strong. I am anointed. I am equipped. And I tell people, if you don't talk to yourself the right way, then you can talk yourself out of your dreams, or your thoughts can talk yourself out of your dreams. So that's a big principle of the I am.
You're good. I didn't expect that. The rolling in of clips and everything. Wow.
We try, Chris.
Go Millhouse Entertainment.
I'm trying to be like you,
Hey, you know what? We don't roll in clips. We have to do it in posts. So you're really with the times, so you're doing great.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying. You guys really do it well. And so I don't have the large crew to work with. So I have to make it all happen through the stream. It's called StreamYard.
You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job.
Thank you so much. And so are you, Chris. So I know you guys are out in the community doing so many great things. with the community and for the community. So I know you just had the event yesterday. Now, what was that called? When you guys went out to West Dallas, it was called the
That was the Chris Howell Foundation's 4th annual Thanksgiving food giveaway. So that was the opportunity for us to go back into the community and distribute food. And like I said, we had done it in other parts of the community before, but it was an opportunity for us to be able to go to West Dallas, a place where I grew up. So I was certainly glad to be able to do that.
Right.
I want to go back to that clip that you played, though, just a moment ago there with Joel Osteen, just because of what he said in there and something that you said a moment ago. It brought something to mind for me when we talked about the fact that, again, you rolled it, your ability to be able to roll in clips, things of that nature. You said something about you're trying. And it only stood out to me because it's something that I'm working on myself. It's all about the language and what we say to ourselves. And it was the same thing that Joel said in that clip. It's the power of saying I am is what he was talking about. And it was what he had to say to himself before he went into the pulpit to speak, because he had all those negative voices coming against him to tell him that he couldn't do it. But he had to speak to himself in a positive way to be able to get up there in order to do it. And we see the result of that now, some many years later, and the success of that. If you want to call, if you say that, if you could say that with ministry, that it's successful, because many times people frown on the fact that you say someone is successful in ministry. But I say that to say, you use the language trying. I'm trying to get I'm getting away from using the language of trying
and then using doing. I am.
Yeah, because you just rolled in the clip perfectly. You did an awesome job, and you don't have to have some large team, and you did it. So again, that whole thing about trying just stood out to me, and I don't want to get lost into that. But it stood out to me when you said it. It was like, no, don't use that language. You're doing it.
Well, thanks for the correction. We all need a course correction from time to time. I heard Joel Osteen preach on that once about course correction. And it takes sometimes, our egos or whatever get in the way, and we can't stand it, to be corrected or whatever. But course correction is so necessary. And God, he chastens those that he loves. So if, when he does it through other people. So a lot of times when people are coming to you and telling you something, we may not want to hear it, but it's a lot of times they're trying to help correct us. God is using that person to help correct us. And I'm kind of getting off subject here, but back to you though. You got you're
on subject, because it's all about staying positive. A lot of times people ask me, well, how did you do the things that you've done? And it's really about staying positive, and it's getting over that negative mindset. And it's really all about what it is that you say to yourself. It's not about what others think about you. It's not about what others believe about you. It's really about what you say to yourself and what you believe about yourself that's going to allow you to be able to accomplish anything. So until you can get that mindset right, it's going to be an uphill battle for you. Yeah. For
real. Confidence is so necessary. And like Joel said, you have to speak to those things. You speak to those voices that sometimes are trying to defeat you or make you think less of yourself or whatever. You have to really talk to it. And, and that comes with, the more we do, confidence, we build our confidence. And, sometimes in the world, people are kind of intimidated by a confident person. But if your confidence is used in the right manner, confidence is everything. The word confidence is mentioned 61 times in the Bible. So if it wasn't necessary to be confident, I don't think that word would come up that many times. Is that Psalms that says, I will remain confident in this? That's David who says that. I will see the goodness of the Lord. He is speaking to that, saying that I will see God's goodness. No one is telling him this. He is proclaiming that. And that's what we have to do on a daily basis.
Be confident in the fact.
We have to be confident in it. Yes. Yeah. And Chris, you have proven that over and over, because you have not one, but you have two organizations. You have the Chris Howell Communications LLC, and then you have the Chris Howell Foundation. So
yes.
Yes.
And one is our for-profit, of course, Chris Howell Communications, coming out of the newsroom as a former journalist, as you spoke about. The best thing to do is to start a communications firm. You've told stories on one side. Now this other side gives us Chris Howell Communications. It gives us the opportunity to be able to work with our clients to help them to now get publicity by working with reporters and working with newsrooms to be able to tell their stories, whether it be a nonprofit or a small business or an individual that we're doing PR for. So we've been fortunate to be able to do that since 2013. So it's been a great run. Been a great
That
run.
has been a
And
great run.
Chris Howell
Congratulations.
Foundation is something that we started in 2016. It's our nonprofit arm. And it started with a focus on strictly with a focus on HIV/AIDS awareness, because Dallas at the time was leading the state in new HIV infections. And so when we looked around and said, what can we do to try to really help impact? What we wanted to do was raise education and awareness regarding HIV. So we started what we called Know Your Status Dallas through the Chris Howell Foundation. And it was events where we would go around, do condom demonstrations, hand out condoms, things of that nature, just reminding folks to be, if you're going to engage, to be safe when you do. And just reminding folks that HIV is still a factor in our community. And, really just trying to, raise awareness in that way. And as we went around the community, we learned that, many times it's not as easy to win over people when you're telling them what not to do. It's probably more, it's of an incentive if you tell folks how to empower them by sharing information in a different way. So we looked at overall health, wellness, and financial literacy. So we rebranded it just a little bit, and we started doing health fairs, things of that nature, to really just go out and just share overall health and wellness information. And that was received just a little bit better, but we were still able to work in our HIV awareness piece as well. But it was under the umbrella of all overall health, wellness. And the financial literacy piece has really just come about after COVID. Once we started doing the food distribution, we then learned, there's a tremendous need, not just for food, but many other folks that are coming through this food line need some additional services. So how can we give them what we call wraparound services? And that is, being able to get them in our financial literacy program. And if they can't work with us, maybe they can work with one of our partnering agencies to get the information they need, whether it's, getting credit restoration, whether it's, banking information, or whether it's savings, what it is you need to help you to be able to put you in a position to where you no longer need to come through this food line, because we don't want frequent flyers coming through that food line. We want to be able to, like I said earlier, be a bridge to maybe help you to, make it through a rough patch. But then at some point, you're no longer needing our services in that way, because you're able to now be self-sustaining.
Amen. Oh, that's good stuff. That is good stuff. And Chris, not only are you doing those things, I was reading on your bio, I love how you seem to take things, and this is so important. I want to piggyback on what you said, is how you present things, because when we start to say, or if it sounds like we're being accusatory, that's what drives people away. But when, like you said, when you sound all inclusive, use we instead of you or they. You say we, include all of us, because we can all learn from it. That's how you reach a lot of people, when you're not coming down and sound like you're condemning. So that is really good. That is really good stuff right there.
You're absolutely right. Everyone was open to a conversation, but no one wants to be talked down to. So you're absolutely right.
Yes.
So we changed it. We changed it to reframe it. And even then, when we initially came out of the gate with it, it wasn't necessarily finger pointing or anything, or trying to be self-righteous or anything like that. But it was really more, let's just try to make folks aware, because at that point, 2016, HIV/AIDS hadn't been talked about for some time. So it was like folks had forgotten the fact that there's just still this, thing that's going on in our community. So we still need to be, if we're going to engage, practice safely. So it was really just a reminder that, hey, let's be aware. And if Dallas County in Dallas is leading the state in new HIV infections, why do we continue to lead the state? We have to do something to combat these numbers. And so that's the reason why we, got out there with the messaging.
And that's a really good message too. Yes, that everyone can learn or benefit in some kind of way. So I
Yeah, and
agree.
we saw that it was primarily African American women and young children between the ages of 13 and 24, young people. So that was our target audience, to make sure that we were championing those particular individuals, to
Yes.
understand that they understood that they were just as much as at risk. Because again, I think the thing that's been always misconstrued and misunderstood is that when it comes to something such as HIV, as that it's a gay man's disease or something of that nature. But we had to remind folks in our community that no, it's definitely affecting Black women, and it's definitely affecting our young people who are engaging, in unprotected sex. So.
That is so good that you are putting that communication out there. It's so important. Speaking of communication, you've been named by your peers as a master communicator, Chris.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's a huge compliment and a huge, I guess a great way to be received by your peers. And not only that, I just want everybody to know why he's on this show. Chris is a voiceover artist as well. You may have heard his voice on some commercials that you hear on TV. You never know. Chris, what are some of the voices that commercials you voiced?
I don't know of any, I guess in terms of any national commercials. I mean, this thing is worldwide. This is Millhouse Entertainment, so you guys are worldwide, but local commercials, absolutely, for like local radio. There's various nonprofits and things of that nature. I guess the largest thing that I may have had, it's been some years ago, but it was a commercial. It was actually not just voiceover, but it was actually an on-camera presence, was with Troy Aikman, and it was an Acme brick commercial. And that's the one I get the most, I guess, teasing about, I guess, because I had this line in there where I said solid, and it's like, we want you to really deepen your voice when you say solid. I'm like, dude, can I really do any deeper? And it's like solid, it's like, okay, the bricks are supposed to be solid. It's like, okay, is it not common knowledge that a brick is solid?
How much more can you be with that, huh?
Yeah. So that video is actually on YouTube. It's on our YouTube channel, but it's called the Troy Aikman house, I believe it is. But Troy Aikman's, it's an Acme brick commercial, and Troy Aikman has this house that's built out of brick. And it's the actress who's playing my wife. We go over to visit, and we're spending the night with Troy Aikman at his house, and the bed is brick and everything. So he's like, there's your room. It's a pretty neat little commercial. It's Acme brick.
Yeah, you've had such a blessed and wonderful career. And, if it's okay for me to say, it didn't quite start out that way. And that's why I tell a lot of people it's so important, not to focus on so much where you've been or where you come from or how you started. It's all about, like we said, mindset and where you're trying to go. And Chris didn't get off to a very good start, but then, hey, he's had so much success, like the 2017 Quest for Success Awards and so much more. So, Chris, you started out, did you drop out of school?
Yes, I did. Dropped out of school in the 9th grade. And that's one of those things where you find yourself, you're 18 years old, you're in the 9th grade, you've got 3 kids, and you've got a live-in girlfriend who's been living with you since 16. So it's like, okay, what are you going to do here, buddy? You have to make a decision. So I had an offer of a full-time job, and it's like, you know what, man, I need to take this full-time job and take care of my family. So yeah, I dropped out of school and went to work for Blockbuster Video full-time. But let me back up just prior to that. My wife and I met when we were 14 years old. And again, like I said, we started living together at 16, and we're living at my mom's house. And my mom, people are like, man, your mom let you have a living girlfriend at 16. I think I've always been what you would call maybe an old soul. And for whatever reason, and I've never asked my mom before she passed, I never asked her why she allowed my girlfriend to come live, who's now my wife. So now we're 36 years in. I've never asked her why she allowed her to come live with us, but she did. So she allowed her to come and live with us. And so 18 years old, you're 18 years old, getting 3 kids. So you're forced with the decision to go to work for Blockbuster. So I went to work for them as an assistant manager for them, and then worked my way up from there to become a district manager, to become the youngest district manager they ever had at 23 years old. And from there, later then I got into broadcasting over KHVN, where you and I met through the Potter's House. I was doing the news at the Potter's House, And the Potter's House News, it was just the church announcements, really. It was a church announcements done in a Entertainment Tonight type format where you stood and you read a teleprompter to do the
Yeah,
church announcements. I mean,
I remember.
this is the Potter's House way back in the day, man. I mean,
Hey,
so that's
yeah,
just how advanced the Potter's House has always been.
man,
You're
yes,
reading the church news, and then every Sunday there's some 8,000 people that see you standing up there, on this big old jumbotron delivering the news, and I'm shaking in my boots because I'm a district manager of Blockbuster. Yeah, I do a training class every now and again for maybe 20, 30 people, but I've never stood, did news. This was my first stint in broadcast ever doing the Potter's House
yes.
News. So
Wow.
when I went to KHVN, I started in KHVN in sales.
Mm-hmm.
And, so I started doing sales. And then the general manager at the time came over and said, you know what? Hey, man, you got a good voice. I don't mind if you voice some of your commercials, for some of the clients. I'm like, great. I love it. So then I got the opportunity to start writing and then voicing some of the commercials for some of the clients who I sold to. And when I heard my voice on the air, then that gave me the bug to really try and advance my career in radio. And that's when I began to work to start getting some opportunity to get air on time on the radio at KHVN, and then later left KHVN and got the opportunity at KCBI and was on air as an on-air announcer for KCBI for a short time, and then later moved into the newsroom at KCBI, and then spent 7 years as a radio news reporter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look
So
at
I know
God.
all that was kind of fast, but that's the backstory on how it all started from a Blockbuster Video assistant man, high school dropout, Blockbuster Video assistant manager to district manager, to then move out of retail into the Potter's House News, to then launch that, take that experience, leverage that into getting into radio, which then led to getting into the newsroom.
And then you still made time to go back to school. Then you go to Dallas
It worked out
Baptist.
perfect. What worked out perfect was being in the newsroom. So a lot of times I tell people all the time, not very often can you even start your radio career in Dallas, let alone get inside of a newsroom. So it's all a God thing. I take no credit for it. It's
Yes.
all a God thing to start in news in Dallas and on radio. So my shift was 4:30 in the morning until 12 in the afternoon. So that was perfect for me to be able to do that early morning shift. And it allowed for me to be able to go back to school in the evening. And that's how I was able to get my degree.
Woo! Determination.
Yeah.
Determination.
And it's like,
Oh
hey,
my
man, you're in the
goodness.
newsroom. I mean, this is, this is a perfect time to go back to school. So that gave me the opportunity to go back to school while serving in that newsroom.
Those are long hours.
Hey, let me say this, the time and the money, because you need the resources too. So
Yeah. And I was thinking, you said 4:30 in the morning to 12 noon. That's kind of long. A lot of people would have gone home and go to sleep and like, hey, I can't do anything. They
there were
would have.
times I'd take a nap. You get a nap in between, but you'd get up and still you'd go to class. Or sometimes there would be an opportunity to leave, go straight from there to class, and then you take a nap afterwards. Just depending on what the class was. Yeah.
Yes. And you have that was a bachelor's in business studies?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Okay. And that's surprising because you would think, because all your communications experience, you would have got your bachelor's in communications or mass communications. No.
I was thinking differently. I was thinking, you know what, you are, because I would have done that to go into radio, but I've already served in radio. So I've already got the experience there. So I thought, you know what, no, let's change the degree and let's focus the degree in some area, the other area.
Yeah. Yeah. A smart man.
I try to operate the smart way.
Woo,
and I've contemplated going to law school, but you know what? We're still kicking that around.
Yes. You still kicking it around? I just thought about what you said.
We're kicking it around. We'll see. I've taken the LSAT once, but that score was not one that was going to get me into a decent school.
Yeah, but that's okay. Like you said,
the passing score, it just wouldn't get me into a school that I would be of choice.
Okay. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, this is Chris Howell. He is founder, CEO of Chris Howell Communications, LLC. He's founder of Chris Howell Foundation. This man is doing great things in the Dallas area. Any words of encouragement before we go, Chris?
I would say this. Stay positive, stay focused, and stay open to new opportunities, particularly as we close out this year and go into 2025. I know there's, the whole election cycle and everything else that's going on. I mean, it's been a rough year for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. But, as we get ready to go into the new year, and I know it's may sound a little bit even cliche, but you really do have to stay positive, stay focused, and stay open to new opportunities. And as you do, I believe they will come your way. So I'd close with that.
Yeah. You know what? Oh, before we close, I forgot to mention that you are a published author as well. So tell them briefly, if you can, about your book.
Absolutely. Man Talk, The Hard Things Men Never Talk About. It's a book that was released in 2004. It's a part of the Man Talk series that I hosted at the Potter's House for 3.5 years, allowing men the opportunity to come in the second Wednesday of every month just to talk about issues that we as men face. We recently revised the book. I guess when the Me Too movement came about, we revised the book just a little bit just to share some more, some thoughts with men regarding the Me Too movement. So that's in the book, and it's available on the website.
All right. Hey, guys, before we go, there's one more little clip I want to show of Chris. We got an interview.
What is this one?
I found this on YouTube. Let's check it out real
Hello,
quick.
I'm Chris Howell. With over 2 decades of being in broadcast and media, I understand the importance of great media exposure. And we want to offer you a unique opportunity. The opportunity to sit one-on-one to tell your story. You've been searching for a way to tell your story. You've been searching for a way to get on large stages and to sit with national media companies or newsrooms. We're going to give you that opportunity. We're going to give you the opportunity to pay a small fee to sit one-on-one. We're going to then package that interview in a way that will get you in front of our newsroom directors. We're going to package that in a way that will allow you to get in on some of those stages that you've been trying to get on. Because many times folks want to see how you will respond on camera. So what this interview will do is give you the opportunity to allow them to hear you tell your story in a way that only you can tell it, but then it will also show them how you will respond on camera, thereby allowing you to get the media exposure you've been searching for. So go to the website, chrishowellcommunications.com. chrishowellcommunications.com is the website. Go there, register today to reserve your seat, and I look forward to sitting with you one-on-one.
Wow, you've been digging. That's pre-goatee and everything, man.
Oh yeah, we got to represent you the right way. We got to let everybody know what you are doing and what you're working with. You bring so much to the table. We thank you so much, Chris. Any shout outs before we go?
I'll say shout out to my family. I'm just so grateful to my wife and children. Like I said, when we did that event yesterday, our daughters and locked in tow. Our son was upset because he couldn't be there. I just really appreciate the support that my family has given me all throughout the years. I've got to shout them out every chance I get.
Amen. We thank you again. I hope you and your beautiful family. You have 3 kids, right?
I have 3, 2 girls and a boy.
Amen. I hope you all
and a grandson. I can't forget my grandson Braden. He'll see this, and he's a 14-year-old grandson. So yes.
Oh wow! I was about to ask, are you a granddad? But there you go.
Yeah.
That's just a one grandson right now. Yeah. Okay. Well, congratulations again on all your success, Chris. We really have enjoyed you being here with us, and we pray that you continue to do. Be that advocate out there in the community of Dallas, doing all the great things that you're doing. And thank you so much for stopping by, Bring It in the House. We'll see you next time.